My friend has been trying to build around Stuffy Doll for years. So he hit me up and asked if I could build something that revolves around this little cutie pie, as well as other cards like it. I always love a deck building challenge, so I happily obliged. In this video, I'll be highlighting 10 cards from this build that illustrate how the deck works, but as always, the architect link is in the description, kiddos. Oh, and this deck, without basic lands, clocks in at $43.96 at the time of making this video. So, without further ado, this is Stop Hitting Yourself. So before we get into anything else, let us read Stuffy Doll, the card this deck is built around. Stuffy Doll is 5 colorless mana artifact creature construct. It has indestructible. As Stuffy Doll enters the battlefield, choose a player. Whenever Stuffy Doll is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to the chosen player, and you can tap Stuffy Doll and it deals 1 damage to itself, and it's a 0/1. So there are actually about 6 or 7 cards in Magic the Gathering that do this same sort of thing. So I went on the hunt for a commander that enabled us to maximize these abilities. I started thinking, making Brash Taunter and Stuffy Doll fight each other would be hilarious flavor-wise, but also in terms of efficacy. There are plenty of ways to combo with these cards, and all we need to do is find a way to easily deal damage to either of them to start things off. Luckily for us, there's a commander that was recently printed that was a perfect fit. I present to you Wayta, Trainer Prodigy. Wayta is a red, green, white legendary creature human warrior from the Caverns of Ixalan precons. It has haste. You can pay 2 and a green and tap it. Target creature you control fights another target creature. This ability costs 2 less to activate if it targets 2 creatures you control. If a creature you control being dealt damage causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time and she's a 1/5. So not only does Wayta allow us to have our creatures fight each other, she also doubles our Stuffy Doll, Brash Taunter, and Boros Reckoner triggers. And since we do want our own creatures to be fighting each other, her tap ability will oftentimes get discounted to just 1 mana. And lastly, even if we don't have the pieces on our board to hit ourselves, her ability is also just removal for us. With a versatile and dope commander at our helm, let's get into the nitty-gritty and highlight some standout cards from this build. Alright, first up, we are going to take a cheeky look at Blazing Sunsteel. 1 in a red artifact equipment. This one's from Commander Legends. It has equipped creature gets +1/+0 for each opponent you have. We don't care about that much, but we do care about whenever equipped creature is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to any target, and the equip cost is 4. Folks, this is an infinite combo deck. Infinite combos will be how we win most of the time. Commander Spellbook helped a lot with this. I'm not sponsored, they're just dope as hell. Blazing Sunsteel as well as Fiendlash are our main pieces for this combo. The combo goes like this. Have Stuffy Doll or one of our similar creatures. If it's not Stuffy Doll or Brash Taunter, we need a way to make our creature indestructible, which we do have in this deck, but we have to have our creature out on the field as well as Blazing Sunsteel. We find a way to deal damage to our creature. Wayta provides this in the form of fighting. When Stuffy Doll is dealt damage, it'll trigger both Stuffy Doll and Blazing Sunsteel. We'll resolve the Stuffy Doll trigger and deal damage to our chosen opponent. Then we'll resolve the Blazing Sunsteel trigger and send that damage right back to our doll. This will trigger Stuffy Doll and our Sunsteel again, and we do this merry dance an infinite amount of times. And that's sort of all she wrote about that. Sunsteel is this deck's GOAT, if you will. Alright, and next up, we're going to move on to Nahirisminations. 1 in a white enchantment from Shadows over Innistrad. It has, at the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn. You can pay 1 in a red, and Nahirisminations deals 1 damage to target blocking creature. Remember how before I said if one of our doll-type creatures doesn't have indestructible, we have ways to make it so that our infinite combo works? Well, here's one of a few ways we can do that. This is a card I had no idea existed until researching and building this list, and it's just so perfect, dude. For 2 mana, we gift a creature with indestructible, enabling it to be used in our combo, or to be used by our commander to fight something, to attack without fear, etc. And who knows, maybe in some games that activated ability will make a difference. Look, if you've been a fan of the channel for a while, you know I love utility, baby. Cards that do more than one thing, mwah, so good. Alright, kids, let's mosey on over to Hoarding Dragon. Alright, I'm gonna stop that. 3 red creature dragon. This one's from Commander Masters. It has flying. When Hoarding Dragon enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an artifact card, exile it, then shuffle. When Hoarding Dragon dies, you may put the exiled card into its owner's hand, and it's a 4/4. So like any combo deck, we need to find ways to get our pieces into our hands. This proves a problem since I'm also trying to build this deck under $50. I want to just say as well, if you're really messing with this idea and you have the money to upgrade, please do so. This deck runs much smoother with those more expensive tutors. Anyways, I like Hoarding Dragon because it's a tutor of sorts, but is also a 4/4 flying body, which is always helpful. And luckily, that Dying Clause isn't too hard for us to do in this build given the fact that our commander lets us fight stuff. All we gotta do is make our dragon fight one of our own creatures or an opponent's creature, and we get to go snag our Sunsteel or Fiend Lash or whatever it is that we need. Let's take a look at another weird little tutor called Scrapyard Recombiner. That's 3 colorless mana artifact creature construct from Modern Horizons. It has modular 2. This creature enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. When it dies, you may put its +1/+1 counters on target artifact creature. You can also tap it and sacrifice an artifact. Search your library for a construct card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library, and it starts out as a 0/0. In a similar vein, this is another janky and niche tutor that just so happens to work perfectly with our particular stuff. Stuffy Doll is a construct. Also, you don't even have to have another artifact on the field for this to work. You can just sack the Recombiner to itself and go snag the doll, baby. All right, next up, we're gonna take a look at Lure, 1 green enchantment aura from Iconic Masters. It has enchant creature. All creatures able to block enchanted creature do so. This is one of my favorite enchantments in the game, and combined with Stuffy Doll or Brash Taunter can make for a win con depending on the size of someone's board. If your opponent has a lot of untapped power on board, just enchant Stuffy Doll with this and swing in. Your opponent will be forced to block with every creature, making it so that every one of their creatures deals damage to Stuffy Doll, which Stuffy Doll will then deal directly to their face. Alright, next up is Bassilus Collar. It's 1 colorless mana artifact equipment. This copy is from Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate, and it is the only card on this list over $1, folks. It has equipped creature has Death Touch and Lifelink, and the equip cost is 2. In the same vein, if you want to just straight up wipe your opponent's board, add Death Touch to the mix with Lure and Stuffy Doll, and it will be destroying every creature that blocks it. Pretty sweet. Oh, and I heard Lifelink is usually pretty good too. Anyways, let's move on to our next card, kiddos, which is Archon of Absolution. This card is 3 and a white creature Archon from Throne of Eldraine. It has flying and protection from white, which means this creature can't be blocked, targeted, dealt damage, enchanted, or equipped by anything white. Creatures can't attack you or a planeswalker you control unless their controller pays 1 for each of those creatures, and it's a 3/2. Listen, a little bit of pillow forting is necessary for us to keep ourselves alive long enough to get this weird janky combo off and wreak havoc. It's a pretty simple tech here, but a necessary one, and if you have more money, you can absolutely include way more pillow forting staples. All right, moving on to Snake Umbra, 2 and a green enchantment aura. This one's from Neon Dynasty Commander. It has enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has whenever this creature deals damage to an opponent, you may draw a card. It also has totem armor. If enchanted creature would be destroyed, instead remove all damage from it and destroy this aura. So this card serves obviously as a really awesome protection piece, but also it is a very good card draw engine for us when enchanted onto Stuffy Doll. The semantics here matter because Snake Umbra stipulates that all the creature has to do is deal damage, not combat damage, just any damage. So when we have Stuffy Doll hit itself, we'll get to draw a card. Speaking of weird little card draw outlets in this deck, let's take a look at Avarest Amulet, 4 colorless mana artifact equipment from Magic 2015. It has equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has vigilance, and at the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card. When equipped creature dies, target opponent gains control of Avarest Amulet, and the equip cost is 2. We need steady card draw in this deck because we need ways to turbo into our combo pieces. Avarest Amulet is a card I'd never seen before, but I absolutely love. The downside normally for this is that it'll be equipped to a creature that can die easily to removal, but listen, Stuffy Doll and Brash Taunter are indestructible, dude, so that means on upkeep, we'll be snagging a card off of this pretty much always, unless our opponent exiles or makes us sacrifice our creature. This is like a janky little Phyrexian arena without having to lose life, and I think it's pretty dope. So sue me. And finally, let's take a look at Tianas Caretaker, 3 red-white legendary creature Angel Artificer. This one's from Commander Masters. It has flying and first strike. Whenever an aura or equipment you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you may return that card to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step, and it's a 3/3. Tiana, my beloved. I have for so long wanted to make a deck around this card, but for now, it will provide us with a really great way to make sure we can get our important auras and equipment back from the yard. Recursion is so important because in a combo deck, once people catch wind of what we're trying to do, they are going to be removing our stuff like hell. And that's sort of all she wrote. I love this build, honestly, and I hope you do too. If there's any cards you think I missed or suggestions for what card I should build around next, drop them in the comments, guys, and let's have a chat. And hey, listen, if you'd like to get get extra entries in our monthly Discord giveaways, win prizes in our monthly deck building contests, and play spell table games with me and my co-host Cress every month, check out our Patreon in the description below. We've got lots of awesome ways to support. And if you want to snag a Paramint Designs playmat through our affiliate link, check that out in the description below as well. If you use our link, you get 30% off your purchase, which I don't know about you, I think is a pretty good deal. And for those who may not have the funds but still want to be part of the community, you can always hop in our Discord completely for free and join our wonderful community of jank lovers. Another free way to support us is by liking and subscribing to the channel, following us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at EDH Jank Center, and that's about it. Alright guys, I'm out, and I'll see you on the next video.